You're probably wondering from the thumbnail, did this have Hank Hill ass? Yeah, this had Hank Hill ass. Big time. I'll share as many photos as I can find. I lost a lot of those images, but I really wish I had them because my body shape before I had surgery was a lot to take in. Before we get into all of that, we're gonna go through a very quick rundown of my body image throughout the years, basically my entire life. It'll hopefully not take that long and we can get through that so that then we can talk about what I want to do moving forward, just so that you have some of the background story and are able to just be up to date to where I'm at right now and where I want to head in the future with this YouTube channel and recording my journey towards that kind of goal. So growing up, I was always that chunky kid. It always starts with being a chunky kid. Classic tale. Classic tale. I was the chunky kid. I never really saw my weight as a kid as like a big deal until about 5th or 6th grade when I was hanging out with one of my friends and we were at her house. And girl, they had just went and picked up groceries. They just got their food stamps in. They were buying all the good shit. They had the pickles, the ice cream, the Lays. I mean, girl, we were having a good time. But I remember, we were picking out snacks to eat, and she goes, I really want to eat some more of these chips, but I can't. They have too many calories. And I said, oh, what about an apple? And she goes, I'm not going to have that either. That also has a bunch of calories. And I said, even apples have calories? And she said, yes, everything has calories. And I said, oh, I didn't know. I simply didn't know that everything that you basically consume, except this, my drink of choice, by the way, and we're not going to get into all of that, but I wasn't even aware that calories were a thing. I wasn't aware of like what made you fat, what made you skinny. Like I didn't know. But from there started a very weird cycle of me being with this friend, and I don't blame her at all. She was just raised differently. Maybe her family was more calorie conscious or more aware of that kind of thing. My family wasn't that much. This friend had a lot of body image issues herself, and I kind of looked up to her in a way where I thought she was really cool. I thought she was super smart, and so that body conscious effect, it kind of like spilled over onto me. She was also very like boy driven, so she was looking at boys and who is hot and that kind of thing. And I wasn't really at the time. I don't think I really started to like boys or anything like that until like maybe even after high. Like I've just never been one to be like, oh, this boy. Never, that's not my character. So, but anyway, seeing her made me want to get into that kind of a thing, right? Because I thought, hey, this is what girls my age do. I'm supposed to like boys. I'm supposed to look skinny, like, you know what I mean. This is what all preteens and teenagers go through. This is just simple. But yeah, I started to look at my body differently. I started to kind of think, oh boy, like I am kind of chunky, or I don't have the curves that my friends have, or oh, I have like no ass, or oh, like my belly is, so I started to critique my body, and I started to critique my body very harshly in the next couple of years after like 5th and 6th grade. Well, in about 7th grade, I lost a lot of weight, and basically I was like a toothpick. And I don't know if I have a picture. If I do, I will put it up here. But yeah, became very skinny. I was like 119 pounds, and I was probably my same height right now, like 5'4". That was basically my height. Got really skinny, and that was by working out, and that was by watching what I ate. Very young, I started to know what to do as far as food, what had less calories. I knew that cardio was really the key to losing weight, and lifting weights was kind of like good, but it wasn't going to help you out with the losing weight. And calories is king. I kind of knew all that stuff. I wasn't very conscious of sugar and carbs and protein. I just knew, lean stuff, boiled chicken, like very, Anyway, we went to high school, and I always kind of struggled with my weight, and I never had a body that I was proud of. I always hated my backside, because even when I was at my smallest, at my absolute smallest, I still had a very Hank Hill butt. Just always had a very Hank Hill butt. After high school, things change and you start to gain weight. That's just, I guess, what happens after high school. You start to gain weight. And I would gain 10 pounds, but then I would lose them and kind of get back to where I was. But then I would gain 15, and then I would only lose 10. And then I would gain another 15 to 20, and then I would lose 10. And either way, it started to progressively get higher and higher and higher. And I was always thinking, oh, I'm going to get on this new weight loss challenge, and I'm going to lose 20 pounds, and I'm going to go back to 119, pounds. Always doing the yo-yo dieting, but not really giving that diet a chance. Just kind of saying, tomorrow I'm going to start fresh. Oh, tomorrow is going to be the start. Because I knew how to do it. I had the knowledge. I just lacked the willpower. So it got to a point where I gained quite a bit of weight. From being maybe like 100 and maybe 50 or 150 something, I went up to like 185, something like that. Maybe this was around age 20, 22 or something like that. So, and a lot of things were going on in my life. Things were stressful. I was drinking alcohol, a lot of alcohol, not a lot, right? But I was drinking alcohol. I wasn't taking care of my body. I was working very long shifts, and after my shift, I would be so hungry and tired that I would binge eat, and I was super bad on the binge eating. I'm not that bad anymore when it comes to binge eating, but I used to be very bad. I do have ADHD, and I have not had it treated until I think a year ago. I started to actually treat my ADHD. No, it's been longer than that. I want to say maybe like 2 years ago, a year and a half. And since I've been treating my ADHD, I have been able to stop the binge eating. I'm able to know my limit, or know when like I've had or my body just doesn't need to do the binge. Because if you've ever binged or had an issue with binge eating disorder, that pull that you get, there is no controlling it. You cannot do anything. You have to do this binge. It is something that you almost cannot control. And I believe that a lot of the binging, not only because I wasn't medicated, but a lot of the binging was because I was starving my body. Like, let's say today's Monday and I wanted to start this new weight loss thing on Monday. So I would start today, and I would say, I'm not going to eat until 1 p.m. And even then, I'm going to have tuna. And then in the afternoon, later on, I'm going to have boiled chicken with broccoli or whatever. So I would restrict myself so severely and so bad that by like Thursday, I know my body, my brain, I could no longer take it. And my body would binge, overly eat by a lot. One thing about me that I found out through binge eating is I can eat a lot, okay? I can eat here's how bad it got. I used to work a factory job. I was building car parts for Toyota and Nissan at one point. And I think I was maybe like 20, 21 maybe. And on my break, we had a 30-minute break. On my lunch break, I went to Little Caesars. I ordered me a pepperoni pizza, $5 pepperoni pizza. No longer does it cost $5, by the way. Anyway, I bought me a $5 pizza, and I almost ate the entire pizza by myself in the car on my 30-minute lunch break. Think about that. Think about that. Really sit there and think about that, because that is insanity. That is, I don't put it beyond me now. Like, I'm capable of doing that kind of a thing. But back then, it wasn't just because, oh, I'm gonna eat this whole pizza. Like, no, it was because my body felt this urge to nourish itself, because I was denying it nutrition. I was denying it consistency. I was feeding it, trash for the most part of it, And then that's what happens when you do the crash dieting and the restricting yourself so hard because you fucked up 3 days ago. And so also, when I would restrict, I would eat like a slice of pizza, let's say, and I'd be like, that was 500 calories. Oh no, I'm supposed to be on this new diet. So then I would go to the gym and I would run for 2 hours and burn, I don't know, like 1,000 calories or something like outrageous because I ate one slice of pizza. My relationship with food, with the gym, with health, with horrible. I mean, bad, very bad. Anyway, I think I was able to get past that. I left that job. I think honestly, stress affects me a lot when it comes to that kind of a thing. And it was considerately a lot less stressful. And I was able to kind of stop the very high highs and the very low lows and kind of level out a little bit. I was still binging. I was still not very good to myself. I still hated my body a lot. But at that point, I had gained, I was absolutely at least at the 180s. And I didn't feel comfortable, but I was okay. I got into a relationship, and this is maybe 25, maybe 24, something like that. Got into a relationship. We moved in together. I started working from home, and I was able to cook my own meals, and my job wasn't really that stressful, and everything was kind of going okie dokie. My weight was still not good. I still very much hated myself. But then what started to happen is I started to get very depressed because I was working from home and I didn't have a lot of social interaction. And the relationship that I was in was not nourishing my needs as far as communication or just understanding each other. It just was not a fulfilling relationship, whether that was their fault, my fault, the chemistry of it all. I don't know. Honestly, that's nor here nor there. But I started to get very depressed regardless of the fact. And when you get depressed, I run to food. I seek some kind of serotonin, right? Because my body is so deprived and so starved. At this time, I still was not treating my ADHD, which, look it up. If you have ADHD, your serotonin levels are considerably lower than a typical person. Look it up. I'm not going to go into that entire spill, but it affects your serotonin. So already you're dealing with a little bit of depression and you have ADHD, which already makes you go a little crazy in your fucking head. Okay? Okay. And the relationship was not working, and I kept trying to think that maybe we could make it work, and then I would be completely decided it wasn't going to work, but then I would say, no, but I can make it, we can, and it was a very troublesome time. Well, I ballooned. I went, I ballooned. My highest weight was 215 pounds. 215 pounds. And I'm not a big person as far as tall. I'm 5'3", 5'4", I don't know, somewhere in there. 215 pounds on a frame of that height, it's a lot of weight. You don't feel comfortable. Every move feels so uncomfortable, especially when you're depressed. Especially when you already feel like shit. Not just that. The way my body was built is I store I store most of my body weight when I gain weight in my midsection. Literally in my midsection. There was not 1 gram of fat on my butt cheeks. Not one little nothing. It was all my belly, and you can see I had a huge apron belly. I wish I had better pictures. I'm sure I could find better ones. It makes me sad that I don't have them. But yeah. No ass. Huge love handles. I'm talking about, I've never seen somebody built like me out in the wild. Never. And I know there's people out there, and I know I'm not the only one. And it could be that I just think mine was more severe because it's me, but I've never seen somebody be built how I was. And it was very discouraging. And I felt very sad. Because when I was in the 120s or in the 130s or 40s, 50s, even 60s, I felt okie dokie. I felt okay. I had no butt. I felt overweight. But I felt okay. I was always very self-conscious about my butt. I mean, I would wear anything, and all I could think about when I walked in front of people was, oh my God. Because I felt like they were looking at me and being like, that girl looks fucking crazy. Did y'all see her? She has no ass. Like, that's how I felt constantly. I'm talking about just walking in public. I felt like it felt like I was walking around naked. That is the best way that I can describe it. I felt like I was walking around naked in public with everybody dressed, and I was the only naked one. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. And I had some very, very, very negative habits that formed from that. I would envy other pretty women so much for no reason. And this is, if you ever have somebody that's hating on you, slick, it's because they are either fucking hate themselves or, I don't know, something else. But one of the ones could definitely be because they fucking hate themselves. But get this, it's not always their fucking fault. I hated myself, and although it was my fault, right? Because I'm not losing weight, I'm not taking things into my own hands. I'm not creating the change that I want to see, blah, 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 yada, yada. But I couldn't help that my body gains 0 grams of fat on my ass, and all it is love handles. My cousin has a banging body. My cousin, all her fat goes to the right places. I mean, she's got legs, she's got a butt that you would, and her belly is like flat, like she is, and that's how she's naturally built. And I would be so jealous because yeah, she's overweight, yeah, she's chunky, but she looks great. And for me to look all right, for me to look passable, for me to be looking like a normal person, I have to be 120 pounds, right? So I had a lot of trauma, a lot of things to work through. Anyway, ended the relationship. I moved back home because I was not feeling good. Before I moved back home, I went to the doctor and I started to seek help from someone, right? From professionals. And this is when Mounjaro and Ozempic, Trulicity, all those weight loss drugs, Wegovy, were fairly new. This was what, like 2022, 2023, something like that. They weren't as popular as they are now. And she said, okay, well, let me give you this sample of Mounjaro and we'll see if it works. If it works, you can try to work out and eat healthier and drink a lot of water, and you will actually lose like quite a bit of weight with this drug. And I said, oh, cool, sure, let me take this box home. I knew about the weight loss drug already because it was already getting some popularity. But I never thought she would just give me a free box because I had heard it was extremely expensive. You couldn't get it, this, that, and the other. So I got home with this box and I was like, OMG. Okay. So I tried it. And in 1 month, I lost 18 pounds. In 1 month, I lost 18 pounds. And you would be surprised how only 18 pounds changes how your body feels, how you feel, how you're able to clearly see the very weird addiction and relationship you had with food after you see how you can now look at food. It mind fucked me. It mind fucked me that I was able to do that. I lost 18 pounds. I felt good. I felt like I could maybe then pick up the pieces and start this weight loss, right? And it was a kickoff to my weight loss and my journey. I talked to my doctor and I said, oh, that worked awesome. Is there a way that I can like get another box, or like how does that work, or like what do we do? She said, I can't really give you another box. We can only give like sample boxes, but I would advise doing like a low carb and diet, trying that, working out. And although I was okay with that, it was a letdown. Not only because of that, but also because I talked to her about my PCOS. I also have PCOS. I mean, what else don't I have? Like, you know. But I was also talking to her about that. And she just gave me metformin and said, do that and lose weight and you should be good. Metformin, if you don't know, then now you're gonna know. It don't do shit. It didn't do shit for me. I don't see people on the internet saying metformin is done much for them. That could just be, I don't know. But I felt very let down. But anyway, I tried to lose weight after that, and it was not. My body, again, felt so starved. After the medicine left my system, after a week or two after, the last injection, my body felt so hungry that I gained the 18 pounds. And that's when I reached my all-time high of 215 pounds. Yeah. So not only did that box give me false hopes of weight loss, but it deprived my body so much that I then skyrocketed to my biggest that I have ever been. And at the time, it wasn't easy to get this medication. I don't have diabetes, or I'm not pre-diabetic, so you can't get it covered through insurance. And at that time, that medication was at the bare minimum like $900 a box. I did not have that kind of money to give up just for weight loss at all at that time. So I knew that wasn't a choice. Anyway, relationship ended. I moved back in with my mother. I started to feel more, I got my job working from home. I got a different role in it. So I was being more social. Things were just, getting better. The relationship trauma and whatever, and all, it was getting better. I was feeling better. I leveled out to about like 190 pounds, something like that, or like in the one, from like 190 to like 200, I was somewhere in there. But I had always wanted a Brazilian butt lift. Always wanted a Brazilian butt lift. I had inquired about it before. I think I even had a point, like a surgery date booked and everything before, and then I thought, this is crazy, I'm not gonna do it, and I never went through with it. But ever since I was like 20 or like even younger, I had always wanted one. I had convinced myself, I had already told my family years past, I'm gonna do this, but I just never went through with it. But then after really looking at people's testimonies here on YouTube and seeing what a BBL did for them and this, that, and the other, I decided I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and that's it. I am never going to say that I regret it. You're never going to hear that come out of my mouth. I don't regret it. Did I almost die? Yes. And I'm not being dramatic. I am not being dramatic. I'm not going to say I almost died. Maybe that's a bit much. But I did have a horrible infection where my body was no longer able to regulate temperature. That's how bad my infection was. My infection was so bad that the pain was so bad that I couldn't sleep sometimes at all. I could not sleep at all because the pain was so bad. The pain of the infection hurt more than the entire BBL surgery, recovery, massage, anything. That is the most pain that I've ever felt in my life. I remember just wanting relief. I remember shaking in pain and not being, I think about it and I can't even believe that. The infection was so bad that my body, my butt, where the infection was, literally opened, bursted, and the infection came out. Literally what you're thinking, my butt cheek, where the infection was, it bursted like a pimple, and the infection came out. And I had a horrible experience with because I went back to the surgeon and And it wasn't even it wasn't even one of the incisions that got infected. It was an internal infection. How that happens, God, I don't know. I thought about suing because that wasn't my fault that I got that infection at all, because I kept my incisions clean. I did everything I was supposed to do. I ate protein. I drank water. But I didn't pursue that just because I'm fucking stupid. Maybe I could have got some money out of it, but whatever. But I wouldn't regret it, because what that procedure did for my mental health, for the way that I saw my body, for the way that I looked at other people, for the way that now I can walk into any room and not feel like I'm walking around naked. I can simply just feel human. And I know that sounds crazy, and you're probably thinking, girl, you were human the whole time. You are exaggerating. You are crazy. I'm so serious. When your body looks like what my body looked like, there is no pair of pants. There is no dress. There is no sort of outfit that can hide your shape, that can make you look okay. And I had trauma from my early 20s, from my early 20s, where people were sexualizing people so heavily, talking about ass, talking about boobs, talking about skinny waist, talking about everything was so sexualized in my early 20s that I always felt so undesired, that I always felt so inferior to every other body that I saw, every other woman, everybody looked so much better than me because of my body shape, right? So, no, I'm never going to say that I regret getting it. In fact, I should have gotten my procedure way earlier. I should have gotten my procedure as soon as I turned 18, and I am not afraid. To me, it would have done wonders. I regret not having the surgery earlier. And even though it wasn't easy, and even though I had a horrible infection, I would still do it 100 times over. But now there's an issue. I'm still overweight. I had the surgery when I was overweight. I think I had it at like 190 pounds. So I wasn't, at my desired weight. I did have like a plus size BBL, right? But at least now I feel like my body is more proportionate, more than what I used to have, right? Now I feel like I can wear a pair of pants, or I can wear a dress, and I can feel good. And honestly, on a daily basis, I feel good. On a daily basis, I feel good. I feel okay. And that is worth it to me. But have you guys ever heard that one song? I don't know if it's a real song, but it goes, "These BBLs killing y'all, and the thighs don't match." Have y'all heard that? Bitch, that is the realest fucking thing I've ever heard. That is the realest fucking thing I've ever heard. Because this BBL almost killed me. And bitch, you're right. The thighs, they're not matching. The thighs isn't matching at all. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. I'm not going to sit here and lie to myself. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Oh, it doesn't look, it could look better. It could look better. So I don't know how much I want to share. I guess I should just be very transparent, and if I'm gonna do this and do this YouTube thing, and I should share pictures of my body. I don't know that this is gonna be the video, just because I do want to upload tomorrow, so that then I can start working on my other videos for this coming week. But just know there is imperfections. My doctor, although he did a good job on my body given what he was given to work with, I think he did a great job. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for the world. But yeah, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but I knew it wasn't going to be. And I think from here, what I need to do is focus on my goals and focus where I want to go. And I want to lose like 45 pounds. Currently, I think I weigh 190 pounds. I'll weigh myself and insert the picture here, but I think I'm around like 190, 191, 192, somewhere around there. I have not been under 190 in, maybe I've hit like 187 in the last 3 years, once or twice, but I've not been under 187 for, God, at least maybe like 3 years. But I want to be, I feel like my body feels good at like 165, 160 pounds. So we've got some work to do. And I'll share what I plan to do and how I plan to get there on my next video, which should be a Monday upload. So I will try to upload that Monday morning instead of Monday at night. So that's what we're going to aim for. Be there or be square. I really don't know what that means, but do that. So yeah, I'm ready to get going. And in the last fall, I want to say it was last fall, I got into this very last fall I got into a workout routine. I tried to do 75 hard. And I was doing it. Like, I was doing a good job. I think I got to like day 7, which is good for me. Good for me. Almost 10%. But I got to day 7 and I felt like a new woman. My body felt good. I was eating the right things. I was just doing good. And I was starting to see my body. I don't know if it was the water weight that was coming off, that I just felt so much better. Like, you could see like some sort of a jawline. I know right now you're thinking, you have a jawline? But you know what I mean? And I started to see the potential that my body now, having the BBL, could look like. I started to see the potential it has. If I lose weight, a lot of the butt goes away, which is good, because right now I think my butt's a little bit massive compared to my thighs. And then also the belly starts to go down. Also the back, because the back is crazy. But I started to see the potential that I have, and I really think, and I really, really think that if I get down to the 160s or whatever, I think that I am really going to love what my body looks like at that weight. Do I want a tummy tuck? Girl. Yup. I want a tummy tuck. But I want to lose weight first. Will I eventually have a tummy tuck? I think so. And that's okay. If I decide to have a tummy tuck, I don't mind it. But I think I definitely want to get down. see what my body looks like at my goal weight, and then go from there. If I decide to get a tummy tuck then I'll get a tummy tuck then. But anyway, quick rundown from childhood to where I'm at right now. Yes, I had a BBL. Yes, the thighs don't match. Yes, I had the absolute worst apron belly of all eternity. I had hella fucking ultra severe motherfucking, I'm sorry, that started to look cool, but I had very severe Hank Hill ass, very badly. I hated it. Either way, I feel like I'm in a good place right now to kick back into fucking gear, and I'm excited to do it. These videos that I've been uploading this past week, it's really just been for me to start getting comfortable with talking to the camera and comfortable with importing all my data and editing and using the editing software and uploading and just getting myself into the groove of things, right? I haven't really done anything health-wise. I really haven't started looking at what I eat or doing any kind of workouts, nothing like that, nothing like that. But we're starting the process. So now I'm telling you the story. I'm telling you where I'm at. Next video, which is going to be on Monday, I will tell you how I plan to get there. Do I know right now? Today's Thursday. Do I know right now? Today is Thursday. Can you see that? I don't think you can see that. But today is Thursday, December the 4th, 2025. Do I know what that's going to look like, what that routine, what all it's going to look like? No. I'm going to figure it out this weekend. I'm going to film hopefully on Sunday or Saturday, edit, post on Monday. So on Monday, you're going to know the goal. You're going to know how I plan to get there. And you are going to watch me get there. Because I'm motivated, I'm excited, and I hope you are too. With that all being said, thank you so much for watching. Please decide to subscribe. And on Monday, you are going to see what my body looks like now. And be ready for that. Because I don't know that I'm ready for that. But we're going to do it. All right. Have a good one. Till next time.